fan tablets, and evaporator coil cleaner. I'll get started on unit number 1. First, we always want to make sure that we turn off the power. Those simple disconnects over there that pull out. And on this particular model, the electrical panel is behind here. I'm going to go ahead and take this panel off too. That accesses the evaporator. Yep, and see that clog there? And what gave this away was when I took this cover off, this insulation is saturated. So I knew the drain had to be clogged up immediately. You know, we're supposed to keep a trap on these units, so what happens when this is in here, this stays full of water, so the unit can't pull air through this drain. So that trap has to stay full of water, and it's a good place for debris and you know, growth to occur that clogs up the drain. Anyway, we're going to leave that off and let it drain while we check the electrical components. And when I first started off in this trade, I always trusted the disconnects to kill the power until I got shocked a few times. So we're going to check each leg of power. You can see the wire coming in here that needs to be secured, but we'll get to that later. Wire coming in from those disconnects, this wire and this one, we're going to check both. Each leg to ground. Make sure the power's off before we start touching things in here and run the chance of getting electrocuted. So this is a dual run capacitor, and the rating for it is covered up. So I'm gonna get that to where it's exposed. So it's a 40 plus 5. And what that means, I've disconnected all the wires. You have a terminal that's labeled hermetic or herm. Sometimes it's labeled compressor. I haven't seen that very often. You have one that's labeled common or C, and then one that's labeled fan. So you're going to set your voltmeter to the microfarad readings. Consult your instruction manual for your meter to figure that out. And we're going to check from common to hermetic, which is reading 39.79 out of 40 and 5.01 out of 5. And that rating is listed right here on the capacitor. And if it's not, sometimes we'll have to call the manufacturer or look up what came with this unit, or even go to the fan motor and the compressor to try and find what microfarad it requires. We're going to hook these back up the way we took them off. Yellow was on common. Red was on hermetic. And blue was on fan. Alright, and those capacitors also have a tolerance, plus or minus 3% for this one. So an easy way to do that is to take your ratings. And it was 40, it's 3% tolerance. Multiply it by 0.97, so it shouldn't be reading lower than 38.8. Don't really have them read higher ever. And take 5, multiply it by 0.97, so it shouldn't read less than 4.85, so we're good. And then we've got another capacitor here for this blower motor. Where you can see it. As long as you've got one of these wires disconnected, you're good. I'm pretty sure that's a 7.5, but we're going to check it anyway. So it has a 3% tolerance, and it was reading, don't remember. $7.31. So let's see here. 7.31 times 0.97. Excuse me, 7.5 times 0.97. So it can read down to that, so we're still within the tolerance. We're going to leave it. Actually, that screw's right there. And we're done with the voltmeter. I'll put that up. All right. I'm going to take this panel off so we can get to the return side of the Evap coil. That's the side of the coil that the air from the filter, hopefully, is coming from. There's a tricky one. Course, this needs to flip over. So this is the return side of this coil. That's the return duct coming in from the filter rack. And got the drain pan down there. Let me grab a light. That helps a little. So I'm gonna put these pan treats in this pan down here. It's at least 1 to 2 per ton. We're gonna go a little over because there's some buildup in this pan, and you want to try and put them so came around here and that was sitting like that, and somebody's hit it. Just want to try and get this broken adapter out. Well, let me go grab a new drain set up. So, got all my drain stuff here. Getting my cutters, reorganizing this mess. Alright, so always glue on the adapter first, unless it just doesn't seem feasible for some reason. Let that sit for about 10 or 15 seconds. So when we do this next part, when you twist it in, it won't rotate inside of the adapter. I've been doing this a while, so got a little bit of a feel. I'm not gonna twist it past the point I feel like it's gonna move just yet. Okay, it's tight enough. So this thing got broken last time. Apparently somebody stepped on it or hit it with a yard tool, something. So we're gonna try and make it a little less in the way. So got that. Get it right up against that block there, that pad. Just like that. And now we're gonna power this down and basically go through the same thing we did on the other one, and then we'll check refrigerant pressures and move on to the next one. Got a split system. Gonna do a maintenance visit on them. Hope that these dogs don't get out and try to kill me. I can tell you that. They're trying to come out of the door. He's got his head out. Step over here and turn this power off. There's 30 here. He wants to eat me. Right. I'll set your voltmeter to volts, alternating current, or VAC. So it's grounded here, so anything bare metal is going to be ground. We're going to check each leg to ground. Check each leg to ground here. Have my camera a little off, not getting anything of any relevance on either side. Then we're going to switch to microfarads. Got a dual run cap. I'm going to disconnect the wires from hermetic and fan. Leave one lead on common. Check it to hermetic. Getting 69.9. And then to fan, we're getting 4.97. And this is a 70 plus 5 with a plus or minus 3% tolerance. So we're within the tolerance there. So this capacitor is good. Hook it back up like I found it. And we're just doing a electrical check here and checking the coils to see if they need to be cleaned, and bringing these folks some filters. So we check capacitors on these visits and clean the coils if they need it. I always spray down the evap coil, but this condenser coil was cleaned in the early spring, and I don't see enough buildup on it to really warrant a cleaning. So we're not going to subject this coil to some chemicals unless it absolutely needs it. So not any buildup on there that's of concern. So we're going to move up to the attic. I'm going to turn the power back on. Right. Getting started on the air handler here. Nice and cool and dry in this attic. Like my sense of humor. I'll shut the door because it's super hot. Don't think I have anything. All right. I'll try and traverse over here to this air handler. All right. Nice. All right. I'll turn this off. And this is a scheduled maintenance visit, so we bring filters. Check electrical components, i.e. the capacitors, and we run it through a systems check where we make sure that the heat strips function and do proper amp draw, and we spray down the Evap Coil with a no rinse solution, and we treat the drain pan in line with some tablets. And then if we find anything else that needs to be addressed, we bring it to the homeowner's attention and provide an estimate for that. So any work that you don't see done here gets discussed with the homeowner and done at a later time. And I'm not going to disconnect all of the plumbing to take this panel completely off, but as you can see, we've got some buildup there on this coil. So first off, add some treatment tablets. I lost one under there. Not too concerned with that. The idea is to get those tablets as far away from where the drain comes out, right here, as possible. And one of them rolled up right there by it. Alright, and now we brought our Evap Fresh up here. We're going to saturate all the surfaces of this coil. So this stuff is a I can't remember if it's the Evap Fresh or what it is, but it's a fungicide antibacterial solution, and we just coat this coil surface. I'll get a better angle here. With this solution to kill anything that's actively growing. And then we'll go over possibly pulling this coil and cleaning it, getting all this buildup off of it with the homeowner. But for now, we're just going to spray anything that we see that we could label as growth with this solution. And also talk about maybe cleaning this air handler off if that's important. We're not doing volunteer work. And always make sure that the last thing you do when you leave a house, or the last thing you do on a system anyway, is check your refrigerant pressures. That way you know that you didn't forget to turn the power on to the air handler or condenser when you got done checking your electrical, and just hop in your truck or van or whatever you're driving and leave, and then get a call back later because their air's not working or the heat's not working, only to dry back out and find that you left a disconnect off.